So we've got quite the build-up on here now. You can see that's really blocking the door opening there. And I'll bet you I can't open this door, but let's try.
From snowy Sudbury, Ontario, I'm Justin Pritchard for Driving.ca. This is the Ford Bronco. My tester is the Bronco Badlands with Sasquatch package and a 4-door configuration. Pricing starts just under $61,000 for a unit like this, including the $2,000 charge for the 2.7-liter EcoBoost V6 with 330 horsepower. Add in $16,000 worth of options, including the capability-stretching Sasquatch package for $4,500, and my tester clocks in just shy of $73,000. At the moment, Bronco is part of an adventure-ready family, which also includes the smaller Bronco Sport I showed you earlier this year. You can expect this family to grow over time as Ford builds a Jeep fighting sub-brand into their lineup, and as more Canadians than ever want to both explore the great outdoors and have less things to worry about while they do it. Just a quick glance at my tester strikes many of my off-road worries from mind. Ground clearance, traction, delicate tires, forget about it. These Goodyear Wrangler Territory tires look like they belong on a piece of mining equipment, and they're designed for extreme performance use and abuse. Tires like this laugh in the face of gouging, chunking, and damage that become increasingly likely when a typical crossover tire ventures into serious terrain. And even if I could manage a puncture, there's a full-size spare that's an extra life bolted right to the tailgate. Ground clearance is generous, which equates to less decision-making in most off-road settings and should inspire point-and-shoot confidence on the trails in novice and experienced off-roaders alike. Even if you don't clear an obstacle, skid plating and rock rails take the abuse and protect the vital organs and body parts beneath. Plus, it'll bust through a 2-foot snowplow driveway hump like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Bronco's 4-wheel drive system is designed to climb and slog, claw and dig, and even bind itself together to the benefit of traction if required. In lightly snowy trail conditions, it gets around just fine in 2-wheel drive when drivers prefer a lively and slippery rear end. A button press clamps down on the turf, with 4-wheel auto instantly boosting traction in a blink when needed. This setting works just like all-wheel drive. Clamp down harder with 4-high and it's continuous 4-wheel drive traction. Another press engages low range, amplifying torque to the ground and setting drivers up for heavy pulls and steep climbs. Further, front and rear differential locks, aka diff locks, engage at the tips of your fingers. Click a button to toggle each or both, mechanically binding the axles together and ensuring that power can be transmitted to the turf even when things get gnarly enough to see a wheel or two airborne. Ultimately, front and rear diff lock are two tools that can be engaged at a button press to help get you into or out of a hairy situation. The disconnecting front sway bar is useful here too when decoupled at a button press. It makes the front suspension softer and saggier while increasing its travel. This frees up a lot of flexibility in the suspension, which makes it easier to climb over unavoidable obstacles and helps the wheels stay in contact with the dirt, again for delivering maximum power to the ground. The Bronco can even deliver power to the ground a bit like a tank. Click the trail turn assist button on a slippery or loose surface, and the powertrain and brakes work in cahoots for a 3-wheel drive setup. Here, the Bronco locks a single rear wheel and drives the remaining 3. Your steering angle picks the wheel that gets locked up, while the other 3 do the driving. The Bronco now has a pivot point and turns almost literally on a dime. It's an absolute blast in the snow and a very cool party trick. So think of this machine as an electronic off-road toolkit that's controlled via a dash-mounted console and a console-mounted dial. Twist the latter and so-called GOAT modes, that's go over any terrain, rotate into life with on-screen messaging and animations. Each mode engages a pre-calibrated program that affects throttle response, shifting, 4-wheel drive, axle lock, traction control, and even how hard the steering works to fight feedback from the trail. Just turn the dial, wait a moment for the program to engage, and with a little chime, you're fully optimized for the situation. Or if you prefer, the system can be left in a fully automatic setting that requires 0 driver bandwidth. Not surprisingly, even in this fully hands-off drive mode, the Bronco feels incredibly capable. So you've got full control over everything, including how much control you want, and none of the features are any harder to call into action than the popcorn setting on your microwave oven. Fiddle and flick and play around with the different modes and displays and animations. They're all there to keep you informed while the Bronco does all the work. You're the boss with this machine. Just buckle up, twist the dial, and find a new place to go. Along the way, you're surrounded by a remarkably comprehensive set of tools that are remarkably easy to use.
So we've got quite the buildup on here now. You can see that's really blocking the door opening there. And this has been sitting frozen overnight now, about 25 below for the past 10 or 12 hours. And I'll bet you I can't open this door, but let's try. Not without breaking something, I don't think. And I'm not gonna force it. This rear door is now frozen shut because of that snow and ice buildup, which you could get rid of. But the point is, if someone was sitting back there and had to get that door open, I don't think they'd be able to. Do you want to demonstrate this and I'll film it because you were using it? You can tell me what you think. So camera guy James here. Camera guy James was using this tailgate. There is an assist strut in there.
Right here, but whoa.
See, it almost squashed you that time. It kind of wants to come back at you there, right?
But especially like right here.
Yeah, it doesn't want to stay where it's put. And the thing is, I think, this assist strut, once it's warmed up, it's moved a few times, it does its job. But if it's cold outside, that's not giving you much help. So if you just want to reach in there, grab your gym bag, don't have to open it all the way. It's wanting to come back at you. I wish that assist strut was like double the size, because look, I'm giving this a pretty solid push. And even there, it's not there it goes. See, it just finally pushed itself open because we've been working that strut and now it's kind of warmed up the fluid inside there a little bit. It does not want to stay open. So be careful, just watch out if that's coming back at you because it sure is heavy, that spare tire mounted on there. And the third thing, not particularly enjoying in the wintertime, are these removable roof panels. Now we're leaving them on because it's cold. You take a look up in there, you can see how there's multiple panels you can remove. And if you come back outside, you can see right here, we've got these rubber seals. Hopefully you can see that. But when you're driving around, and especially when it's cold outside, those panels are creaking and chirping and squeaking above you. And I think for the money they're charging for one of these, I was expecting a little bit of a quieter ride. Now I think that you can lubricate and adjust those and probably take care of most of the problem. I think many owners are just going to put up with that in exchange for the capability. To me, if I'm spending $70,000+, I want my roof to be whisper quiet.
This machine is also very easy to drive. The turning circle is crossover-like. The sophisticated power steering system has several high-tech tricks that help it to feel just right in virtually any situation, from one-finger parking at Costco to a confidence-inspiring highway feel to its ability to fight feedback so drivers get smoother steering on not-so-smooth surfaces. It's a more car-like ride and drive than a Jeep Wrangler, less correcting, less adjusting, and a more eager and direct and precise steering response, especially at highway speeds. So while cruising, there's minimal need to readjust your position between the lines, the radar cruise works like a charm, and the throttle response from 400 pounds of low-end torque means that you've got plenty of power available before the engine starts making much noise at all. This turbocharged V6 delivers a smooth and quiet glide up to speed without breaking 2,500 RPM. To recap so far, I think you'll have no trouble finding the Bronco a confidence-inspiring, easy-to-use toolkit that puts some of the most advanced off-road toys and tricks on the road at your fingertips. Some of the biggest smiles on my test drive came from the approachable nature of the controls, which are fun to use and reward you for trying them out and playing around, though the very biggest smiles came from the suspension and ride. On one hand, the Bronco can often feel jiggly and jouncy, even abrupt on rougher around-town roads. Here, the ride feels tough first and comfortable second. But on more challenging surfaces, the system shows its key strength: consistent composure, whether ruts, moguls, or miles of potholes and frost heaves. My tester's suspension takes a pummeling like a champ, as the position-sensitive Bilstein dampers see driver and occupants glide along on a springy cloud, while the wheels and shocks are getting pounded like a drum. This means the Bronco can move quickly and smoothly, even over very rough terrain. That inspires confidence for you to cover rough ground fast, and mostly results in a machine that feels like it's built to be easy on you, even if you're not being easy on it. The thing is, there are some compromises inherent of this type of vehicle. Noise is the first one. Bronco's shape and removable roof panels mean that highway wind noise can become generous at higher speeds. On one Bluetooth phone call with my mom, she asked if I was in a convertible. Most shoppers won't find the interior noise levels at cruising speed to be offensive, but it's definitely not quiet in here. Further, an emphasis on ground clearance means that a solid hop on board is required for those of average size and mobility.
See no side steps here. We've just got these steel rock rails that are designed to take the abuse if we need them to, and that is to maximize ground clearance, but it means a bit more of a step up into the car when you're getting in and out.
And shoppers should note that very young, elderly, or mobility-challenged passengers will likely require additional assistance. The rear cargo height is elevated too, which may complicate entry and exit for some canine passengers. But I do have this camera lens, so we can put that in there. Deep center console here, you can see that's halfway to my elbow. Nice little drawer here, good spot for your wallet, maybe a lens cap. So we've got these mesh storage bins here in the door. Those are flexible, good for your COVID mask in there. A little bit of hand cream. Always nice to keep your hands moisturized when you're sitting in a car with the heat cranked for as many hours as I do. On the top of the dashboard, we've got these little compartments here you can see. And I've actually really appreciated this on my test drive as I'm, swapping camera lenses and rigging different camera setups to get you all these shots. This gives me a nice, easy place to sort of work from and keep my stuff organized. So for shoppers willing to accept some compromises, here's an approachable beast with hardware to power a lifetime of capability, all while making things simple and fun. More novice off-roaders will quickly be encouraged to capitalize on the Bronco's capabilities and use it as intended for the highest return on their investment.
Well, those are my key impressions of the Ford Bronco from a very wintry test drive. My name's Justin Pritchard, and until next time, take care and drive safe.